morning from New Zealand. I can see more people coming in. So yeah, just keep typing yes, just so I am sure that you can hear me clearly. Just also to have some kind of an entertainment, can you please type in what country are you from? Just so we can have an idea of what viewers we have. So, okay, we're getting from Fiji. We're having viewers from the Philippines. Hello, kabayan, mabuhay. Oh, from Pakistan. We have from Pakistan. We have from Nigeria. That's really great. We're having audiences from all over the world, and it's really exciting. Fantastic. Oh, we have from Sri Lanka as well. Marshall Islands. Hi, Adi from Marshall Islands. We have from UAE. We have Wainikiti from Marshall Islands. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us today in today's webinar. So I can confirm that you can hear me clearly because you have been responding to what I've been asking you to type onto. So thank you for that. Oh, we have from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Hi, Grace. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar. So I will not hold it too long, and thank you so much for being so interactive the first few minutes of the webinar. So I just want to greet you once again. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from what part of the world you are, and thank you so much for joining us in today's webinar. Before we officially start today's webinar, I just want to say some house rules that we have in place during this webinar session. So just to give you an idea, this webinar session was able to be formulated due to the reason that we have been receiving so much questions, a lot of clarifications on how to be a registered nurse here in New Zealand. So we have been asked by a lot of nurses all over the world, frequently asked questions. So this is the main reason why we have started this webinar, why we have decided to do it, just so you know, to give you more clarification and to educate you on what plans you can take in order to be a registered nurse here in New Zealand. So another house rules we have is that if you have a question, please make sure you will type it on the Q&A chat box. So not on the regular chat box, but we have a separate Q&A box down there. So you can just type in the question there. And later on the Q&A portion, we will be answering the questions one at a time. So any question you have in mind or that come across to your mind during the presentation, just type it in on the Q&A box and we will answer them later. All right. Okay, so I will not hold you again too long. So before I officially start today's webinar, of course, let me introduce myself. So I am Leah Howe. I am the Legal Assistant of Immigration Advisors New Zealand. I am a Filipina. I came from Philippines, and I came also as a student here in New Zealand, and I am the legal assistant, and I have been working with immigration advisors for this year, and it has been a great journey for me. And of course, I would love to host today's webinars and together with this wonderful host that we will be having. So I will not hold it that long. Before we head on in today's topics, please allow me to give you a brief background of our company. So who are we? So our company name, or we are Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited, and we have been an Education New Zealand recognized agency, and we have been liaising with education providers. We also have a group of 7 licensed in-house immigration advisors. And of course, we are licensed by Immigration Assessment Authority, okay? Also, we have been in the education industry for 20 plus years and immigration industry for the past 10 years. So we are also a New Zealand based organization. And because of that, we have local knowledge and support that we can be giving to all our clients. And of course, we have successfully served 6,000 plus and counting clients. And not to brag about it, but we are happy to share with you that we are one of the most reviewed immigration advisors here in New Zealand. So without further ado, let me head on to the next slide, which is the scope of today's webinar. So just to give you a brief summary of what we will be tackling today is that you will be able to get to know more about the CAP course, the process, the job opportunities and future pathways, also the CAP intake dates and seat availability. I think that is important. And of course, the prerequisites to enroll for CAP, Nursing Council New Zealand letter to apply for the CAP course, the work experience requirement that is needed, English requirement needed, and of course, employment opportunities and the option to take your family along when you come here to New Zealand. And because of that, there's also a border exemption written there, which means that is another exciting part to look up to by towards that end of that part of our topic that we will tackle, because there's actually a border exception for those who are coming here for CAP courses. So without further ado, let me actually introduce to you our immigration advisor. So just a brief story about her actually is she actually started her journey back in 2015. And she really considers herself really blessed to have a background and the skills to allow her as an immigration advisor to effortlessly visualize herself in her client situation, experience, and expertise, and to help find a solution to it. So it is really my pleasure to introduce to you our director, our licensed immigration advisor, Miss Vandana. So Vandana, please say hi to our viewers today.
Thank you, Leah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar, and we really look forward to giving you as much information as you would need to decide upon your nursing career here in New Zealand. So thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to giving you more information as we move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vandana. So our next guest speaker, um, let me introduce you to her. She is none other than the director of the School of Nursing, Health and Wellness at WITT, Dr. Ruth Crawford. Hi, Dr. Ruth. Please say hi to our viewers.
Oh, kia ora, Leah, and thank you very much for your very kind introduction. It's great to see so many of you here today. Yes, I am a registered nurse, and I am the director of the School of Nursing, Health and Wellness at the Western Institute of Technology at Taranaki, which is a smallish school of nursing on the west coast of the North Island of New Zealand. And we're looking forward to sharing with you today our competency assessment program.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Okay, so another speaker that we have is the coordinator for CAP course at the School of Nursing, Health and Wellness at WITT. It's none other than Rexy Felix. Hi, Rexy. Please say hi to our viewers.
Thank you, Leah. Hi, guys. It's good to be in this discussion today. I am the CAP coordinator in WIT in Taranaki, and I'm just looking forward to answer your questions and discuss about CAP program and about the process and what we are going through. You guys, if you guys need to come in, you know what you guys going to see on the 9-week program. So we will discuss that more later on. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Rexy. So to our viewers, please don't forget to type in the Q&A box whatever questions that come across to your mind during the presentation. We will all answer them later on at the Q&A portion. And just don't forget to make sure you're typing it at the Q&A box. Okay, so without further ado, let me hand over the floor to Dr. Ruth and Rexy to discuss and start the presentation for the CAP course. Over to you, Ruth and Rexy. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. We'll move to the first slide. So yes, as I said, we are offering a competency assessment program here at Western Institute of Technology at Taranaki. We call that WIT. And I'm just going to share a little bit about that program with you. We've been offering and we call it the CAP program. We have been offering the CAP program here at WIT for 2 years. We've had a highly successful program. We've been offering 5 programs a year with usually around 25 students in each program. So about 100 students a year coming through. I can tell you that the majority, like 99% of our students have been successful in the program. We've been delighted with how well they've done, and many of them are now working as registered nurses in New Zealand, and they're doing really, really well. Some of them have stayed in Taranaki, some of them have gone to Auckland or Wellington or Christchurch, but they're all doing incredibly well. So we're really, we feel really privileged to be able to host students in our program, and we're looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible who can get in. Obviously, over the last 6 months of the last year, it's been very difficult for students to get to access New Zealand and come through the borders, but we're hoping in 2022 there'll be some more room for movement there, and we'll be able to increase the numbers that we can take. Our numbers are mainly restricted because of the numbers of students we can place, and Rexy will be talking to you about where you'll be going for your clinical placement. So I'll pass over to Rexy now to just talk about it, just give you an overview of what the program is and what you will be doing within the 9 weeks of the program. Thanks, Rexy.
Thanks, Ruth. Hi, guys. So I'll just give you an overview of competency assessment program. So we call it here as CAP program. And we run this program in a duration of 9 weeks. And the first 2 weeks, we normally give in-house theory sessions, and rest of the 6 weeks, you will be placed in community or in acute settings or in public hospitals. We got wide range of settings where we send students to, and you will be placed for 6 weeks. And on that 6 weeks time, you just wanted to, meet the New Zealand Nursing Council competencies. So normally your journey starts by coming to WIT. Will be 2 weeks of in-house theory sessions, and there will be some examinations to see, whether you are qualified enough to go for practical sessions. So once you clear all your 2 weeks theory course, then you will be going to clinicals. We got connections with so many local continuing care facilities, rest home facilities, Taranaki District Health Board. So according to your experience and your background, we will be shortlisting you and placing to different facilities. On this program, we have 2 different papers. So the one course is CAP 7001, which is mainly nursing in context of Aotearoa, New Zealand, and which is mainly the 2 weeks period of teaching in-house, that's in campus. And the next program is nursing practice in Aotearoa, New Zealand, which is mainly the practice sessions. That's the 6 weeks practice out in the community or in the placement places, So you normally need to meet 240 hours during the 6 weeks period. So that means you'll be doing morning shift, evening shift, sometimes 1 or 2 night shifts, not mainly. So during this 240 hours, you need to meet the nursing council competencies. So all the nursing council competencies will be taught and discussed while the 2 weeks period, and you'll be ready to get some examples when you go and during the placements. We normally take 20 students per intake, but we have a maximum number of 25. So last year, due to COVID, we had 10, 15, and there are batches where we run more than 30 students. So it depends upon the situation, how the students come and the board assumptions are. But normally we are looking forward for a range of 20 students per intake. Can we go to the next slide? Thanks, Leah. So here we discussed regarding the tuition fee. Like For CAP course in WIT, we charge $15,000. And there is for next year, 2022, we got 3 index. We are having 1 index just going to starting on 13th of December this year, and it will be finishing by 18th of February 2022. And then after that, we will having another index on same month of February, that is 28th of February, and that will run up to 29th of April 2022. And the second index will be on 20th June to 19th August, and the last one for the next year will be 3rd October to 2nd December. So if any of you guys who are cleared your IELTS or your other English requirements, and if you contacted the Nursing Council and achieved your Nursing Council decision letter, you can contact, your agent and ask for booking your space in our college, because it's very quite in demand, this course, and so many inquiries are coming from different parts of the world. So it's up to you guys, like, how fast you need to act. Can we go to the next slide? Thanks.
So I can speak to this one, but I also just want to just advise people that when you're on your clinical placement, you are very well supported by us at WIT. We have a clinical lecturer who goes and visits you at least once a week to make sure that that the clinical placement is meeting your needs as far as meeting the Nursing Council competencies, ensures that you're getting the clients that you need and whatever you need to ensure that you are able to pass the program and demonstrate the competencies that you need. So with regard to the English language requirements, there is with regard to IELTS, it's 7.0, no less than 7 in reading, listening, writing and speaking subtests, or as it says there is OET with a minimum grade of B or 350 out of 500 in all the subtests. We do allow some clubbing, but no more than 2 attempts can be clubbed. And the English language test shouldn't be more than 2 years old. I do see some questions in the question and answers around that, so we'll be responding to those at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth and Rexy, for that very informative presentation. And yes, just like Ruth said, so we will all be answering all the questions at the Q&A box at the Q&A portion later on. So I know by this time everyone is really eager to hear more information on, how the process would be, and how long would it take, or what visa to do, or how the application starts. So let me hand the floor right now to our very own senior immigration advisor, Vandana, right, to discuss further more on these things. Vandana, I hand the floor to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leah. So, so I just wanted to give you the information starting from your research, deciding on New Zealand as your study destination, or towards getting your nursing registration, and to getting the CAP offer, your visa sorted, and doing the CAP program, and the life after that, the options after that. So we'll start off with the planning parameters for CAP offer letter. So what really is required for you to secure a seat for the CAP program. So the first main requirement you all would be aware is the decision letter from Nursing Council of New Zealand. So this is one of the prerequisites. What really is required for you to secure that? Primarily a bachelor's degree in nursing. You should have an overseas registration with the Nursing Council. You should be working as a registered nurse in the area that you are working in. You should have at least 2 years of work experience within the last 5 years, and meet the English language requirement, which Ruth and Rexy have elaborated widely. So if you're meeting these requirements, you could probably contact us. We could assist you in securing the offer of place for the CAP program. And what exactly is required once you have the decision letter for you to be able to secure a CAP seat. So there are, as you heard from Ruth and Rexy, the CAP seats are limited. It's a program which for which a lot of seats are not available because there are clinical placements involved and there are detailed theoretical classes. So the number of CAP seats are limited. So it really makes more sense if you are interested to make sure that you're meeting everything. So you get the seat for the intake that you are aiming for. So what other than the Nursing Council of New Zealand decision letter, what else would you need? So certain education providers have very specific language requirement. There would be some providers who would say, okay, we require the desired OET score in single sitting. We will not accept clubbing of OET or IELTS scores. So there would be other providers who would probably accept clubbing of scores, but would say that no more than clubbing of no more than 2 scores. And there could be providers who could allow clubbing of multiple scores as well. So really depending upon what your language proficiency is, what's causing the delay, we can probably guide you towards a program wherein you are meeting the language proficiency without having to delay and reset the language proficiency test again. So that's one thing where a lot of nurses get stuck up. Another thing apart from that is the work history. And there are providers who would need work history right till the end when they are applying for the CAP program. There would be providers who would say, we would not accept if you have more than 1 year of a work history gap when you apply for a CAP program. So depending upon what your situation is, if you're not currently working and if you've had a gap of your work programs or your work history, then probably we could suggest you a program which meets your requirement, or you meet the eligibility for that program, keeping your specific requirement in mind as well. Apart from that, there are certain health and immunization records which are required. So that has to be communicated to you very clearly right from the start. Otherwise, you kind of get stuck on those requirements, and as a result, you miss your intake date for the CAP program, the intake that you were aiming for, and that could delay your program. So these are certain things that you should really be aware of, and we definitely would assist you when we move on with you to guide you through. Leah, if you could move on to the next slide, please. After having discussed about the academic requirement, I would now like to move on. What is the immigration requirement? So first thing that I would like to make it very clear to all of you is for a competency assessment program, for a CAP program, if you're coming to New Zealand, you are coming on a visitor visa. If the borders would have been open, you would have come on a visitor visa for a short-term study. Now that the borders are closed, you have the option to come on a critical purpose visit visa. But the fact remains that you are coming on a visitor visa, and for this reason, you can only receive immigration advice from a person who's authorized to give you advice. That means you have to make sure that the person who's assisting you with your visa application has the authorization to do so, is a registered immigration advisor or a lawyer. Otherwise, what we have seen is a lot of declines happening in this space when nurses take unlicensed advice. So education agents offshore are allowed to give student visa advice. They are exempt from licensing for student visa advice. However, this is not a student visa advice. This is a visitor visa, and make sure that you seek immigration advice, because that's one of the mandatory requirements, and applications fail if that's not met. So that was one thing. So the visa that you would be able to come to study your CAP would be initially a border exemption, and followed by a critical purpose visitor visa. A good thing about this visa is that it's a visitor visa, but it allows you to study your program, complete your CAP program, apply for your nursing registration, and apply for your further work visa. So it allows you all these options. Another good thing about this visa is that you can travel with your family. Your partner, your husband, your wife would also get this visa option to travel with you if they want to. If you have kids, your kids can also be included in the same application. So if you're wanting to travel to New Zealand along with your family, there is an option for that. If you're not located within the same country, suppose you are working in Middle East, your partner is working in Saudi, or your partner is working in India, or whichever, if you're placed in different countries, again there is still an option for you to include your partner, for you to include your kids if you want to reunite in a country together, and if you want to travel together. So that's another good thing about this visa. MIQ requirements, so you would have heard that New Zealand is controlling the border entries in a way to control COVID cases and MIQ booking. So there are certain spaces which could be secured for you if you're traveling for a CAP program. So that is one option which could be worked on. And recently the MIQ timing has been reduced from 14 days to 7 days, and there are multiple options that we are hearing which probably would be opened in the first quarter of the next year. So definitely there are various options for you to secure an MIQ booking if you're coming here for a CAP program. And there are some financial requirements if you have to travel on this critical purpose visitor visa. Financial requirements to make sure that you have enough funds to cater for your living costs, to pay for your CAP fees, to make, if you have family, making sure that you have enough funds to support them. And we would be giving you all these details as we assist you with this visa application. So when you're coming for a CAP program while you are studying, you do not have work rights. Your partner doesn't have work rights, but as soon as you finish your course, as soon as you get your New Zealand nursing registration, you have this option of applying for a work visa. Your partner can also apply for a work visa. Kids can move on to their domestic fee-paying student visa or a visitor visa, depending upon their age. Leah, if you could move
Vandana,
on.
Vandana, can I just interrupt you just while you're talking about financial things, that as a special offer, we are offering here at WIT 3 weeks free accommodation for all our CAP students, 3 of the 9 weeks free accommodation. So that's a special package we have at the moment.
So thank you so much, Ruth. So thanks for clarifying. That's really very useful, because when you're coming to a new country, the initial concern is to find a place for which you would be comfortable in. You don't want to get into an agreement, tenancy agreement, without looking at the place that you would be living in. So yes, these 3 weeks of free accommodation really gives you that flexibility for you to come start living, so that you can choose the place that you would subsequently want to live in more carefully. So we really appreciate that offer WITT has given. So Leah, if you could move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so once this is done, once you've completed your CAP program, once you've got your nursing council's registration, what next? So what visa can you apply for? So you have the option of applying for a work visa to work as a registered nurse. As soon as you get an offer of place, uh, as soon as you get an employment offer to work as a registered nurse, and you also would have the option of applying for a residence visa. I would be covering a more elaborate option of this residence visa in my next slide. But yes, there are 2 kinds of residence visa that you would be eligible for. First would be the one-off residence visa 2021, for which there are certain requirements which I will elaborate now. And the other would be the skilled migrant category residence visa, which would open up from July next year. So um, don't think that you're coming here on a visitor visa. Even if you're coming on a visitor visa, you do have a pathway taking you on to subsequent work visa, because if a nurse is coming here to do a program which leads to nursing registration, definitely there are options for you to work in New Zealand as a registered nurse post completion of that program as well. Leah, if you could move on to the next slide, please. a lot of times we get these questions on what if I don't get a job? What if am I very sure of getting a job? So for that particular reason, I'm sharing this information. So this is part of the Careers NZ website, and this assessment or this graph or this record is pre-COVID. So it hasn't changed post-COVID. But what I can tell you is the demand for nurses has increased manyfold post-COVID. So what you see here is what was applicable previously. Now it's kind of more than that. Now, how would you be sure of that? See, I've never seen a registered nurse not getting an offer of employment. In fact, while they are on their clinical placements, they just get their place fixed. So I see Ruth smiling. Ruth, would you like to add on something here?
I was just going to say that we are that nurses are desperately needed here in New Zealand. I have aged residential care providers, employers ringing me and saying, can you give me some graduates? We're always keen on getting them. I know Rexy can maybe talk to this as well, but we have students on placement getting multiple offers of employment even during their CAP program, so that there is no delay between finishing the program, getting the registration, and starting employment. Do you want to comment on that too, Rexy?
Yeah, from our last two batches, like most of our graduates just come out with multiple offers, like even before receiving their registration. It's wonderful to see that like people are just asking for nurses most of the places, and mostly what happened is that when you placed in each facilities, if you perform there really well, they will take you straight into their organization. You don't need to even leave that practical place. So which is great to see that like this is a time for nurses to come in, and we got like a really dire shortage of nurses here. So if you guys come in and show your skills, definitely there is no doubt of getting a job.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Um, so, Leah, if you could move on to the next slide, please.
Okay, sure. All right.
Okay. Um, so once you're sure of your post-completion options, I also wanted to let you know of this very special option that New Zealand has offered, and it also includes the nurses who would be coming for the CAP program. So a lot of you would have heard of this. For those who have not heard, I'll elaborate. So this is a one-off residence visa 2021. On 29th September, on 30th September 2021, the minister announced this visa for a lot of people who were already in New Zealand with the eligible visa. So those people had to be in New Zealand on 29th of September to be eligible for this visa. However, there were few groups of people who were required by New Zealand that were given this exemption of still being eligible for this visa, even if they are offshore. And nurses coming for a CAP program is one of those that group. So if you come to New Zealand on a critical purpose visa and your visa duration is more than 6 months, so that is something which can be worked on. Most of the times when we apply for a critical purpose visit visa for a CAP program, the visa duration is 6 months or more. So that means you would meet this first requirement. The second requirement is that you apply for your residence visa on or before 31st July 2022. So that means if you enroll for your December intake, or you enroll for, I think there's another and batch in February 2022. So these are the two intakes that you must aim for if you are wanting to subsequently apply for this one-off residence visa. Because if you come on these programs, you would complete your CAP program, you would be eligible to apply for your residence visa straight away before 31st July 2022. Another good thing about this visa is there are times when I know nurses do not want to relocate together with family. So the partner could be working somewhere else, kids could be somewhere else, and initially they come alone, get themselves established, and the partner intends following subsequently. So if that is the case, this residence visa also gives you an option to add on your partner, your kids in the same residence application, even if they are based offshore. So if you're intending to come alone initially, your partner could still be included in this residence visa. So all that you need to think of or plan is making sure that you enroll for the CAP program in time, get your visa in time, so you don't miss this date. So 31st July 2022 is a date that you must keep in mind if you're thinking of getting registration in New Zealand, because that gives an assured residence pathway, a lot of stability, a lot of relaxation on your further options, and a lot of assurance for you if you're coming to New Zealand for a residence visa as well. So that was it. I've tried to explain a lot of things in there. Look forward to the questions now, Leah, and we are happy to
Yeah.
take the questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you so much, Vandana. So thank you to all our viewers that has stayed up to this part. And I know everyone is so excited to ask their questions. So now is the time for you to type your question at the Q&A box, and we will answer them one at a time. I will be addressing the questions to either Vandana if it's immigration related, and to Ruth and Rexy if it's about the CAP program. So thank you so
Leah,
much once again. Yeah. Yes,
Leah,
Ruth?
I have been answering a few questions that I'm able to answer just as the presentation's gone on. So I
Okay.
have been checking them out. So that's
Okay.
been quite good.
That's
Any that I'm able to answer. There's a few immigration and questions there that I've left for Vandana.
yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Ruth, for that. So actually I'll be reading the questions at the Q&A box. I'll be picking them one at a time. So
Okay.
so just okay, this question is but addressed to Vandana. So one of our viewers is asking like for more information about the option of bringing her family with her. So can she bring her family with her by the time that she is just applying for the critical purpose visa for the CAP course?
Okay,
Vandana?
sure,
Yeah.
Leah. So all I can tell you is you can bring your family at whichever stage you want to. So if you're coming here for a CAP program, applying for a critical purpose visitor visa, you want to bring your family, definitely you can bring your partner, your husband, wife, kids. That is an option. If if your family is not coming at that stage, you want to bring your family when you apply for your work visa, and definitely that's also an option. So initially, if your family doesn't come with you, but they want to come when you get your work visa, then your partner gets a partnership based work visa. Your kids aged 5 and above get domestic fee paying student visa. They don't have to pay any fees. It's kind of free education for them. Your kids less than 5 years get um, uh, visitor visa, but they again get free education for 20 hours a week. So family with you at any stage is possible. If they don't come with you for critical purpose visa, they don't come with you when you apply for a work visa, there would still be an option to include them in your residence visa if that is what works well for your family. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vandana, for that answer. So okay, let's continue answering questions. Now I have a question. I think it's either for Dr. Ruth or Rexy. So what happens if the student encounter some issues in immigration and the expected arrival date in New Zealand is delayed? So the applicant could not basically arrive in time before the start date of the CAP program that he had reserved seat. So will he be losing his CAP seat, or can he be reserved later on based on the availability on when he can come to New Zealand?
Yes, so we do accept, sometimes students aren't able to arrive exactly when the start date, and we do allow students to come even up to a 1 week late if there's something that's held them up. But if longer than 1 week, we would need to move them on to the next CAP program and give them a seat in that program, because they're too disadvantaged if they miss more than 1 week. they are able to do some of the theory study online and on a learning management online platform. And that's why we can allow them to come 1 week late. But in the second week of the theory, and Rexy can speak to this, there is quite a lot of simulation work, and we need them to do that work before they go out into clinical placement.
Okay. Would you like to add on
Leah,
anything? Oh,
yes, Leah. So Rexy, would you like to add on anything?
Yeah, like the first week theory session is mainly like introduction, and we go through more teaching sessions. And when you come to the second week, it's more about simulation, practical exams, and like assessing your skills. So during that time, I want personally everyone to be here. But in case if somebody is struggling in a MIQ to come here, taking 4 or 5 days to getting late to reach here, we can provide that week online resources, but it's better to be here face to face, because it's more advantageous when you come here face to face. But if in case situations you can't know, it's things are different during COVID. If you think that you're stuck in a MIQ for a few days, that's acceptable just for the first week. But definitely for the second week, for the practical assessments, we do need the students here. So otherwise the other option is to move on to the next CAP course.
okay.
Thanks, Rexy.
Any addition? Yeah, Vandana?
Yes, I would just like to tell you, because that attendee had asked the question that if there's some issue with immigration. So I just like to add in there how we kind of assist our clients in a similar situation. So first thing that we kind of do is time the intake and the immigration application in a way that you are able to reach. The second thing is submitting a decision ready application when we are submitting the application, because if we make sure whatever the visa officer requires to take on the decision, it's given upfront, the decisions are faster, and there's not too much to and fro on the application. So how we assist our clients is to making sure that we submit a decision ready application, the decisions are faster. And the second thing is there are times when it's very close to your intake, and that is the time we can request for an escalation, because this is a very specialized program. There are limited intakes, then there is an MIQ. So if need be, these applications could be prioritized by the immigration advisor, and that's how we assist our clients to make sure that they don't miss out their intake and they're able to start on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for answering and adding to the answers of our guest speakers. So okay, I'll head on to the next question. So is there any age barrier or age limit in the program, in the CAP program, Dr. Ruth?
No, there is no age limit.
Okay, there's no age limit on that.
Not at all.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruth. I have another question asking us to elaborate about the partner visa. So does the partner, like applying with your partner, does it means you need to be married, or it can be like more of a de facto relationship only? Vandana, I think this question is for you.
Okay, so thanks, Leah. So for including the partner in the application, so the partner need not be married. It could be a de facto relationship, could also be accepted. But what is required to meet the partnership criteria is that you should be living together in a genuine and stable relationship. So what immigration has to assess is that the relationship between the two of you is a genuine and a stable relationship, which is most likely to be endured throughout, and you have been living together for a substantial time to have met that partnership criteria. So marriage is not the only option. So even if somebody is not married, but they are in a de facto, a genuine relationship, living together in a genuine relationship, could also include the partner in the same. I see somewhere a boyfriend and a girlfriend written. So
Yeah.
yes. So you need to be living together um, uh, to meet the partnership criteria. So that's what is the requirement though.
Okay. Thank you, Vandana. Another question we have is for Rexy or Ruth again. So you have said you're giving 3 weeks free accommodation for the CAP students. So one of the interested attendees asking, is it merely for the CAP student, or if the family is included, will there be any available accommodation for a family?
It's only for the student, but of course, if they're coming with their family, we would look at, obviously making sure that the family can be accommodated in whatever accommodation we provide, but the payment is for the student only.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Another question is for Vandana, I suppose. So this question is, if I have a family in New Zealand, can they support me in any way in the application?
Okay.
Vandana?
So yeah, thanks, Leah. So there are financial requirements. So you need to prove that you have sufficient funds to cater for your living costs. And if you have a family who needs to, who are willing to assist, they are related to you. There is an option. They could probably sponsor you for that application if the living cost is not readily available in your account. Definitely that family could be a big support for you because you do have a place to live in as soon as you move. But from immigration perspective also, depending upon what document are you struggling in providing, we can suggest what support can the family give. But definitely it's a big support to have family here in New Zealand.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vandana. And I just want to thank our viewers to being so for being
Mm.
so interactive, because they've been engaging so much on the webinar, and thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you being interactive because it just makes more sense of this webinar is actually for you. So thank you so much for being so interactive and keep on asking questions. And it just get more interesting. So now I have another question. I think this will be addressed to Ruth or Rexy. So what is the gap accepted in English results? Like, for example, when using multiple score sheets, does it need to be like just a few months like apart, or do you accept up to 1 year apart? Let's say first intake was taken on 2020 November, and the second is on October 2021. Like it was being delayed due to the COVID outbreak.
Mm.
So yes.
We would look at, we'd look at what caused the delay. Obviously, we're looking for them to be as close as possible. And we're more likely to give seats to people with a closer result. But it would be on a
Okay.
case-by-case basis.
Case-to-case basis. All right, Ruth. Thank you. Thank you for answering that question. Okay, so this question actually, I think we were able to answer on Vandana's presentation a while ago, that if they travel on a critical purpose visa to do the CAP course, will they be eligible for the 2021 one-off resident visa? So Vandana, do you still want to add on something for that question?
Yeah, so provided you apply for that visa before the date that is 31st July 2022. So that's the another. So two things you have to keep in mind is coming to New Zealand, entering New Zealand on a critical purpose visa with a visa duration of 6 months or more. And the second thing is applying for your residence before 31st of July. So yeah, if both the things are met, you would be eligible to apply.
Okay, thank you so much, Vandana. So another question we have from one of the viewers um, is the English test like can the test be done post CAP, or is it prerequisite to the CAP course?
It's a
Ruth?
prerequisite.
Yes.
It's a prerequisite. You won't get into the program unless you meet the English language requirements.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you need that English language requirements for your New Zealand decision letter as well. So if you don't have the English requirement, any of the tests done, you never get your decision letter. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Rexy. Thank you for that. Okay, another question we have is for Vandana. They're actually asking how long does it take for the process, like starting from getting a letter from Nursing Council New Zealand up to getting the critical purpose visitor visa to be able to come here in New Zealand. Like, what is the time frame that we can we are looking into with this
Okay,
process.
so Leah, I would just like to elaborate on the previous question before I move on to this answer. So that
Okay, sure.
the attendee had asked, if I come on a critical purpose visit visa, can I apply for? So for this particular residence visa, there are two requirements. One is entering New Zealand on that eligible visa, which critical purpose is,
Mm-hmm,
and the second
mm-hmm,
thing is making sure that you meet one of those requirements as well. So and there is a date by which you have to apply, but before you apply you have to meet the requirement to be eligible. So if you are a nurse, you've completed your CAP program, there are two ways in which you can meet that requirement. One could be when you work as a registered nurse, that there is an option of a scarce list. So you have an employment in the scarce list, which nursing is. It's a nursing profession. It's a profession which requires occupational registration in the health sector. That is a tick box. You would meet the requirement from there. There's another option when you earn more than $27 an hour. So our nurses do earn more than $27 an hour. So the requirement is for you to enter New Zealand on a critical purpose visa, but the other requirements to be eligible would only be met once you have the registration done and you start working as a registered nurse as well. So don't get yourself too close to that date of 31st July. So you try and enter New Zealand as soon as possible, so you have enough time to finish your CAP program and to get the registration and meet the other eligibility criteria as well. So thanks. So the
okay,
other
thank you.
question, Leah, if you could just quickly repeat that for me.
Oh, how long does it take, like the time frame that we are looking into from the New Zealand Nursing Council New Zealand letter to the critical purpose visitor visa? Yeah.
Okay, so from getting the nursing council decision letter to a critical purpose visitor visa, one very important step is to secure a CAP offer of place. So another important thing in this aspect is, like when I spoke about a visa, I said we have to make sure that we submit a decision ready application so it's faster. Same thing applies for a CAP offer as well. So when you have a decision letter and we are applying for a CAP offer, we would do in a way that is kind of a decision ready for the provider as well. So if they need your health and immunization records, if they have a certain English language requirements, certain clubbing acceptable or not. So we'll make sure that your application is given to a provider where it is meeting all the requirements, so things are faster in a decision ready format. So I would say the seats are limited, but if we kind of apply in a way that the provider is able to issue an offer and you're meeting all the requirements, the options could work much faster and then applying for a critical purpose. So I won't like to give a very specific time frames here in this, but we have managed to complete the entire circle probably in two 2 months as well. 2 to 3 months is quite an achievable target to complete the entire circle here.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Vandana. Thank you so much for answering the questions from our viewers. So another question we have is, do we assist, or can we assist for MIQ bookings? Vandana, yeah.
So see the
Can
MIQ
immigration
book.
advisors? Yeah.
Yeah. So the MIQ booking, the way government has said it is for you to try on your own. So it's kind of not legal for somebody else. Like there are travel agents who are saying, okay, assured MIQ, please don't get your seat secured through them, because the things could have been done which are not done in a very lawful manner. So the system is very transparent now. It's very easy. How we can assist is we can explain you the entire process, and so that you are confident to do it on your own. We should not be doing it on your behalf. That's not kind of allowed. You should not be you know uh, paying anyone any money or doing it through any process, because you could end up getting into a situation where things have not been done correctly. But yes, there are certain cases where MIQ seats could be prioritized if there are some deadlines for you to enter, especially if you are coming here towards the registration for the nursing thing, and there are some MIQ spaces which are kind of secured for the health sector, and if need be, you could apply for that and be eligible as well, and we'll guide you through the entire process. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Vandana. So another question that just came, actually three from our viewers actually asked the financial requirement needed. So will we be able to give them a brief idea, or yeah, just an
Yeah.
information on financial side? Yes.
When somebody is coming for a visitor visa, immigration requires that person to have 1,000 New Zealand dollars per month, plus enough money for their outward travel. So that is what is the immigration requirement for a visitor visa. And if the partner is also included, again, $1,000 for each applicant. Or else if the accommodation is prepaid, then it could be $400 a month for additional applicant. So that is what the immigration requirement is. Once you apply for a work visa, there is no requirement to show any funds, or financial requirement for your living cost is not required, because then you have an offer of employment and you could cater for your living cost with your employment salary and wages as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Vandana. So for our viewers, I would like to thank you for being so interactive once again. And there has been actually a lot of questions. And these questions, actually, I am hoping that we were able to answer majority, like the commonly asked questions. And I can see that there are still more questions coming in. So just to answer once again, the IELTS and OET are a requirement. It's a prerequisite requirement, as Ruth said a while ago. It's a prerequisite requirement for the CAP course, for those who are asking it once again in our question and answer box. And another question I have got for Vandana, I guess, again for this is, can my partner, or if I'm bringing my partner with me on a critical visitor purpose visa, is my partner allowed to work?
So if you're coming on a critical purpose visitor visa and your partner is included in the same application, your partner also gets a critical purpose visitor visa. So on that visa, your partner is not allowed to work. There are no work rights on visitor visa. But once your partner is here, if your partner gets an offer of employment, then there could be an option for your partner to apply for a work visa on their own. So that is one option. The other option is, once you complete your course, when you apply for your work visa, that is the time your partner could have this option of applying for a partnership based work visa, which allows them to then work in any employment for any employer for as many hours. So these are two ways in which your partner can get employment here in New Zealand, but not on critical purpose visitor visa. There are no work rights on this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Vandana. So now I will just be picking two last questions to sum up today's webinar. So this question, actually, I can address to Ruth or Rexy. So will you be assisting the CAP students in finding jobs? Like, will there be any form of assistance from WITT in finding jobs after finishing their CAP program?
Sure, Rexy can answer
Ruth?
that one. He does a
Oh,
lot of that
Rexy?
work.
Yeah, yeah.
Rexy, yeah.
Normally we get direct inquiries from places, clinics and hospitals and rest homes, but we do have a separate department where we have the student support team, and we have people who definitely support them through finding jobs and creating a CV, like according to the updated New Zealand format. So we can guide you through that, and you can take special one-to-one appointments with them and go and create your own CV, and they will guide you to apply in various portals where nursing employers will be looking for nurses. So we do guide them, and if we get any inquiries, we will pass it through our news form, So we normally get inquiries directly from employers. So I or Ruth or other faculties will pass the information on the student's news form, and they can pick it from there. And you can say that, okay, there is few vacancies here. I need a job. You can go and find it. But we definitely guide you. We show you the right path where to go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rexy. And it has been really a very good help, to be able for the viewers to know that they are very much supported when they come here for the CAP course. It's like it's another way or motivation for them to actually pursue this path, because they have actually found out just now by attending this webinar that they will be well looked after when they come here for the CAP course. Thank you so much for that, Rexy. So our final question, I might address it to Vandana Rai. So Vandana, the question is, once they finish the CAP course and they will be needing assistance for getting further visa, and of course the residency pathway, and also can we assist them to that visa requirements or application they will be needing to do?
Yes, sure. So that is what our forte is. So we are a team of 7 immigration advisors within our team, and just to make sure that our clients, whenever they need any assistance, we are there to help. So we definitely would be assisting you with your critical purpose visitor visa. And once you are here in New Zealand, if instructed, we would assist you for your work visa, for your partner's visa, for your kids' visa. Again, if instructed, we would definitely be assisting you with the residence visa. And before assistance, we do sit with our clients to give you that option, because you would not know how to reach that path the quickest. So apart from assisting, which would be the last part, we would probably be guiding you on which path to take so that you do reach there the fastest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much once again to our guest host for today. Thank you, Dr. Ruth. Thank you, Rexy. And thank you, Vandana Rai. And of course, to our lovely viewers in this webinar, thank you so much for giving us your time, your attention, and thank you so much for your interest in starting this CAP program. So just so you know, if you are started or if you are very interested to start right away on this CAP program, you can immediately email us at contact@nzimmigration.info. So just send us an email right over there and say, I have attended the CAP webinar course, I'm interested, or just say, okay, tell me how to start for the CAP program. So just as easy as that, just contact us at contact@nzimmigration.info, so we can start right away in assisting you for your CAP course New Zealand journey. So once again, thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you so much, Rexy. Thank you so much, Vandana. And thank you to everyone all over the world who has joined us in today's webinar. So I would like to thank you personally for participating and for being very engaging in today's webinar also. So any final words to our guests, or we're good to go? Any
Thank you
final
very
words?
much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Leah
you.
and Vandana, for the opportunity. I've really enjoyed interacting. We've answered 52 questions. I think we've done pretty well. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yes. Yes. Within an hour time, 52 questions. That's a record, I guess.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yes.
thank you, Rexy, for joining.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank
It's
you,
for sure. Yeah.
Vandana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any last words, Vandana?
Thank you so much. We really look forward to working with the attendees, to clarifying the questions. I see that we answered 52, but I also see that there are a lot of questions that we could not answer.
Yes.
We did not have the time for. So
Fine.
sincere
Yes.
apologies for not being able to reach to your questions, but we would be following with you, and we'll be sending you your answers and listening with you. So thank you so much for your interest, and we really look forward to assisting you in the process. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. Have a lovely evening from all over the world. And this is Leah How once again from Immigration Advisors New Zealand. And we truly appreciate your time, and stay safe, and let's keep in touch in order for us to start this CAP program. Thank you so much, and have a good night. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.